The latest on the Ebola concerns in our area. A 5-year-old Bronx boy has been taken out of isolation at Bellevue Hospital after 2 rounds of testing. CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez has more.
The day began with good news in New York City. A second round of testing confirmed a 5-year-old Bronx boy who was placed in isolation at Bellevue Hospital after returning from Guinea is not infected with Ebola.
He has a different medical condition, respiratory condition.
Mayor de Blasio shared the news at an event honoring the FDNY emergency response teams who suited up to transport Ebola patient Dr. Craig Spencer from his Hamilton Heights apartment to Bellevue Hospital. Spencer remains in isolation in critical but stable condition.
He's a fighter. He, is keeping his sense of humor despite everything he's dealing with, and he's getting the best care in the world.
Today, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie criticized the Centers for Disease Control's new guidelines on handling potential Ebola patients.
This newest guidance, from my perspective, is incredibly confusing.
The CDC's new rules dictate who should be self-quarantined. Now considered high risk are those who've been exposed to the bodily fluids of an Ebola patient but are asymptomatic. They must now be monitored daily by health officials for 21 days. They'll also be prohibited from travel on commercial airplanes, boats, and long-distance boats and trains. Christie argues his state's rules of mandatory quarantine for healthcare workers exposed to Ebola are the most effective.
But the CDC has been behind on this. Folks got infected in Texas because they were behind, and we're not going to have folks being infected in New Jersey and other states in this country. Governors ultimately have the responsibility.
President Obama defended the CDC's new rules.
But we don't want to do things that aren't based on science and best practices, because if we do, then we're just putting another barrier on somebody who's already doing really important work on our behalf. And that's not something that I think any of us should want to see happen.
Dr. Craig Spencer is listed in serious but stable condition. The FDNY says every emergency responder that came in contact with him is also being monitored for 21 days. Outside Bellevue Hospital, Hazel Sanchez, CBS 2 News.